What is up, y'all? Welcome into Uncovering Success. I am super stoked for today. We've got a guy here that's been crushing it lately in his own world, and I'm excited to dive into that. So Tyler Devoll, is that how you say the last name?
Yeah.
Tyler Devoll. We actually met in the Airbnb business that I was doing. The listeners here have heard me talk about that. But yeah, give us a little bit of background, a little bit of story on you, and I'm excited to dive in. I know today we've got some great stuff. I'm excited to hear where the market's at right now. Everyone knows the real estate market's crazy, and yeah, give us a little bit of background on you, Tyler.
Sure. So I was originally in the construction industry. My dad owns a roofing company. They do like remodeling and stuff as well. I had a goal every single day. I would reach out to 20 different realtors when I was working for my dad because they needed to request a remedies done yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to go on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. I'm going to match with the realtor and I'm going to reach out to 20 every single day. So that was my goal. But being around that all the time, meeting all these realtors, I started looking at like what they do on a day-to-day basis. Like I could see myself doing that, and that it looks fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helping these people out, selling their houses, and help the whole hustle of everything just kind of is what turned me on to it. So I went to who is the president of Columbus Realtors now, Michael Jones. I went to him. I was like, hey man, I'm thinking about jumping into the whole selling side of things because I was doing some property management stuff before. Wasn't
Not
working.
for you?
No,
Yeah.
not for me, man. So I went to him. I was like, look, man, I need to jump in this thing. I want to sell some houses and stuff. So he kind of took me under his wings for about 3 years. Just kind of taught me the whole process of what he does and all that. And it got to the point eventually where I was just like, man, it's time for me to just do my own thing here. So I'm with Coldwell Banker,
Cool.
Realty, and a heck of a company, man. I love it. So
The stuff on your social media, it seems like you've been crushing it, and I don't know what you were one of the top realtors there, right? This last month.
yeah. So for our company, I've been top 10 every month of this year, which is nice. And I think it actually goes back to the end of last year, being top 10 within the Coldwell Banker Metro office downtown. So yeah, it's been nice, man. It's been good.
Yeah. Have you always been from Columbus?
Yeah, well, I'm from Westerville. I went to Westerville Central High School, and then I went to Otterbein. I played basketball at Otterbein for a little bit. Yeah, which I mean that kind of goes out to all the people I'm helping right now. I feel like 80% of my business I'm helping past friends from Otterbein University, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I know we still haven't played one-on-one yet. We need to get that in.
Let's go. I need to see that jumper.
Exactly. I got that coach's kid jumper.
There you go. Oh, that's a good one. Don't let him touch the ball then, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so one thing that I'm really interested in, everyone knows the market's super crazy right now, nuts, something that you probably haven't seen in your 5 years much. Where do you feel like the market's at, and what do you feel like is down the road?
Sure. That's a great question. So a lot of people generally think, okay, wow, these houses are flying off the market. Columbus is the number one hottest real estate market in the country, which is just crazy. You think about New York City, you think about all the places in California, and
Florida.
we're number one. We have been, I think it's been like 4 or 5 times, not in a row, but in the last 4 or 5 years, like 4 or 5 times I've seen us be number one, which is crazy. And people think that, that's really good. And it is in the sense of if you're selling a house. Now, if you're going to buy a house, it's tough, man. So I work with the majority of millennials. And I can tell you this, it seems like for every 5 offers I write for one person, they'll win one time. So 1 out of 5. And it gets to be crazy. The offers that we're writing, $30,000 over, no inspections
All
at all. And I
cash.
mean, some people all cash are coming in, you know what I mean? It's wild. It's wild right now. So it's tough for buyers, really good for sellers.
Yeah, for sure. So someone my age, I'm 24 now, someone just getting out of school or maybe a few years past that, what can they be looking to do right now? I'm kind of looking for a few concrete examples of something I can do to get into it because I've always been interested in real estate. I know that's probably going to be in my future. But like you said, it's hard for me to get into something right now because the market's so crazy. I don't have 50,000 extra to offer, something like that. So
Sure.
what are some things that I can be looking to do?
Definitely. So number one is start saving that money, man. Save as much cash as you can. Number two, I would say stay in touch with a lender. Like, let's just say if you're considering buying a house next year, I would introduce you to, a couple of lender buddies of mine that I know do a good job, especially with first-time home buyers, and just set up a program for yourself. Okay, this is how much money I think I need to have for my down payment, my closing costs, and obviously the lender would go over that. Down payment, closing costs, and then on top of that, where the fun money comes in is towards the purchase contract, we're going to have to offer 20 grand over, 30 grand over. And the bank is only going to release what the house appraises for.
That's right?
Yeah. So if it's, for easy numbers, $300,000, we write an offer for $300,000, and the house is only worth 280. The bank's only going to give you 280. So what we're putting in the purchase contracts now is saying, hey, if the appraisal comes in short, we'll have some of this extra cash that we have saved to offer towards the appraisal deficiency. Yeah.
So one of the things I've been looking into and probably would do with my first one is what's called the first-time homeowner loan. And essentially, I'm sure you probably know this better than me, but I would buy a house and only have to put 3.5% down, right? If I live there for a year, is that what it is?
So I don't know what's necessary about the year, and this is a really good question for the lenders. I lean on them for this. I don't get paid enough money for all that. Right? But so, yeah, there's a lot of first-time homebuyer programs out there. I know every bank is a little bit different, but I would encourage, a first-time buyer to talk to, several other lenders to see what the best deal would be. For sure.
And do you feel like now, like if I wanted to do something, now's the time, or like we're going to have this big crash in a year or 5 years, whatever it is? And I know Columbus is so crazy too, and Ohio especially for some reason. I've never really thought Ohio was a massive destination to try to buy a house in, but yeah, what do you feel like is coming in the real estate market? I know you're kind of in the circles, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, though. I keep feeling like, okay, eventually this is going to slow down. But it's just not. I mean, there's not enough houses in Central Ohio for all the people who are moving here for their jobs. There's just not enough houses. So that's why. So we were just talking before we got started here. My listing I had over the weekend, we had 27 offers come in on one house, which was just, I mean.
It was probably pretty quickly, too.
Oh, yeah, it was. We went on the market Friday. We did our highest and best offers in by Sunday, and by Sunday night, we had.
You had 27 offers.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
my.
crazy.
So has it always been like that? Is that something that within the last year, like since COVID kind of started, that it ramped up, or was it starting to ramp up before COVID?
I mean, it's been ramping up for a while. So I'm coming up on my 5th year now, and I can tell you, I don't think I've ever had a situation where I just write one offer for one client and they get it on their first try, easy peasy. It hasn't been like that for 5 years. Usually there's at least one other offer, especially 3 years ago, let's say. There'd be at least one other offer, 2 other offers, but now it's like,
jeez.
Yeah, you got to offer.
You got to bring your best.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to bring your best. Yeah.
So, and we were talking too before. What was the statistic you had said about how many houses compared to how many realtors there are?
Yeah, that's funny. So I was looking at the active houses for sale, and that includes condos and everything in Central Ohio. That's up from like all the way up to Marysville, all the way down to Orient, Ohio. It's all over the place in Central Ohio. But there's a total of 1,600 houses for sale right now, and there's a total of roughly 9,200 realtors in Central Ohio. Yeah.
So right now, the hot thing is to try to get a house to sell.
A listing,
correct?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listings are hot right now. They're hard to come by, but if you get them, I mean, that's
easy money.
Easy money.
Dang, that's wild. Yeah. So you said you're coming up on year number 5 here, and now that you're kind of starting to see a little bit of success, looking back, this is something that I'm super interested in. Like, everyone talks about, you got to work hard to be successful, like the cliches you got there. Did you have like a 3, 4, even 5 year, like just put your head down and grind period? And what did that look like?
Sure. Yeah. So the first 3 years, I mean, obviously still now. I mean, on the weekends, we're working till 10 p.m. on Saturday night, Sunday night. It's still a grind, no matter what. But to get it started, I mean, it was rough. The first year, I think I made like $16,000 total in commission.
Dang. Well,
it was
another
rough.
Statistic you had said before was it 80% of realtors don't make it past their first year?
Yeah. So my first year, I made about 16 grand. So it was tough, man. The first year, and I was grinding. All I was doing was building up, my inner circle and the people who I'm reaching out to and saying, hey, when it's time, if you want to list your house, buy your house, I'm here to help. You know what I mean? Just getting people familiar with my face and thinking real estate, it took time, man. You know, but I mean, it's been the last 2 years I'm really fortunate. They've been really good years.
That's awesome. Yeah. And what is the process like? If someone out there thinks that maybe they want to become a realtor, what is the process of becoming a realtor? And what does that first year look like? How do you get in with a certain group or whatever?
That's a great question, man. So if I could go back and tell myself this also, this
Yeah.
this is good. So so the process, obviously, you have to go in there. You got to take your classes. There's a certain amount of credit hours for each part that you have to study and take a state exam, national exam. And you also have to be sponsored. So you have to have Coldwell Banker or whoever the broker is sponsor you, so that they can take you under their wing as soon as you graduate. Pass your exams, obviously.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I would say, as a first timer going in this thing, I mean, if you already have a good client base and you're all set, some people jumping in here might be like that, and good for them. But I would highly suggest to join a team first. I know the cuts aren't as good, but find somebody who you can see yourself working with for a few years and learning as much as you can from them. And I mean, that's another part of tuition right there. Pay your higher split to be under their wing. Learn as much as you can, and then
Especially if it's not an area that you're super familiar with, right? Like if I moved somewhere right now, decide I want to become a realtor, I probably don't have as many connections there as I would in Columbus. So getting in with a team and just kind of, I mean, it's just networking, right?
For
and
sure.
building relationships, and then eventually they come to fruition. But those first few years, it sounds like it's not something that if you work super hard, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some people out there that jump into this thing and are killing it right off the bat. But, I didn't have anybody. I was on my own, and I said, okay, let me go to this team. And he had, all these people and all these contacts and all these other houses already sold. So I'm helping buyers, buy his listings. I'm helping with his people, his inner circle. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know just from of you saying how hard you work, 10 p.m. nights on Saturday nights, whatever. Do you have a few ideas for people that are on that grind, that are putting their head down really well? How are you able to stay balanced in your relationships outside of that, your time for yourself? How do you stay balanced with that?
That is the hardest part of this job, man. Seriously, it really is. That's the hardest part. I'm just now getting to the point where it's like, okay, if this is not pressing, when can I do this? Do I have to do this right now at 10 p.m. on Saturday? You know what I mean? Can this wait until Sunday morning to do? So just kind of prioritizing myself. Also, the weekends you work on the weekends. You know that going into this. Everybody else is off, so you got to take them out showing houses.
Yeah.
Or you have to do open houses, on the weekends. But nonetheless, I do what's called Tyler Tuesdays. I call them Tyler Tuesdays, and I'm taking Tuesday off as much as I possibly can. I don't, if a text message can wait, I'm going to text them tomorrow. If a call can wait, I'm going to call them tomorrow. But I have to take time for me. I found, because I burn out, man. I'll be honest. Working too hard, it can really get to you. So
I feel like we all do that. And I know a few months ago when we went out for drinks, wherever we were trying to find a time with Joey to go out, and you said it had to be on Tuesday because that was the day that you just take the whole day off.
I tried to,
we can kind of relax and
have
whatnot.
A drink and chill. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like. So, do you feel like you're just trying to get through the weekend to get to those Tuesdays, or it's like you love what you're doing, and then it's just kind of like a nice breather?
Yeah, if you don't if you don't love this job, then it isn't for you, man. Because you're just going to get burnt out too much. But no, I really do enjoy what I do. I love going out showing houses. I love seeing beautiful homes and helping people. At the end of the day, man, helping somebody sell. Yeah, helping somebody try to sell their house for what they want for it or even more, and then that. Sitting there at the closing table, seeing them collect that check, big smile, hug.
They're happy.
Oh, yeah, man.
They give you your bottle of Weller Antique.
I hope so, man. That's a good client right there.
That's awesome. So you obviously said that you started from the bottom, not really knowing many people. What about networking and building relationships? What are some things that you've learned in the last 5 years about going into those circles and trying to build those relationships?
Sure. So I really kind of thought to myself, all right, who do I know? I know people from my college. I know people from my high school that I'm still kind of.
You went to Otterbein, right?
I went to Otterbein, yeah. So what I did was I just stayed on social media, man, nonstop, posting all kinds of stuff. Even if I was just showing a house, I hadn't had a house sold under my name yet, but I was showing some houses. So it's like, oh, I'm out here showing houses. I put it on my story. I might get 650 people that see it, before the end of the day. So all those people know, oh yeah, Tyler's a realtor. So I really just try to stay in front of people on social media. That's my biggest thing, man. And I kind of just build off of that. And people would reach out to me, hey, my brother's looking for a house, my cousin's looking for a house, or whatever, and just kind of build relationships that way outside of my inner sphere. So
And it's hard to, I feel like it's hard to see when that's going to pay off in the moment. And that's another one of those things where it's just put your head down and, like we talked, put your head down and grind, or put your head down, get to know people. But I feel like you have to have the mindset going into it of, I'm going to connect with these people and build these relationships because I genuinely care about them or want to learn about them and get to know them and know their why. People have heard me talk about that, and it's not, I want to get to know this person so I can sell them a house or buy a house for them, or I want to work with them, because you never know what someone's going through, and maybe they already have 2 best friends that are realtors, and you're never going to be able to be their realtor. But yeah, I feel like that's a kind of mindset you have to have. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You'll see it on even on social media every day, man. I'll go on there and I'll see people that I know personally who used another realtor, and it's like, I used to get so mad at that, and that used to be my big motivator. But now it's like, man, you know what? They knew somebody else. It might have been their sister. Who knows? You know what I mean? But still, this is somebody I know, somebody I care about. I'm not going to hold grudges or anything like that. To go back earlier, what we were talking about with networking and stuff, I enjoy, just like you, going out and meeting new people in person. This whole pandemic was a pain in the back, but like going out and meeting new people, whether I'm with a friend I know and it's their friends or whatever. But one of the things I learned was to keep a conversation going. Have you heard of the Ford method? Have you heard of that?
I don't think so.
So FORD. You ask about someone's family. Hey, where are you from? What's your family like? Do you have any siblings, etc. The O, occupation. What do you do for a living?
Everybody, job.
Yeah, they might not want to talk about that so much, but they might like it. You know what I mean? So they'll talk about that. Recreation. What do you do for fun outside of work? Do you play basketball? What do you do? And then the last one, we talked about the occupation. The D, the dream. What's your dream job? If you don't like what you do, what would you be doing? You know what I mean? And by the time you get to D, I promise you're going to know this person pretty well.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, that dude really genuinely, he actually cares about this. And it's nice. It's nice to get to know somebody like that.
Yeah, you might not even get to the R and the D because you find a connection at the O, and that's sweet. So it's family, occupation. What was R? Recreation, and then the dream. I love that. If you can get to the D and hear their dream, that's when people really start to open up. And
building relationships, man. That's all that is right there.
That's so cool. I love hearing those stories and hearing about those people. That's awesome. Because I know for me, my favorite thing to do, like I've said a lot of times, is go sit at a bar and talk to the people beside you. If they don't want to talk to you, talk to the bartender. Ask her what's good in the area, learn the people, and yeah, man, that's awesome. I love that stuff.
For sure. And I can't tell you how many waitresses, bartenders, people that work in my building I've sold houses to. I've helped just from talking to people, man, and building relationships outside of, your normal friend group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see most of your like transactions and people that want to buy a house with you and use you? Where do you see most of those come from? Is it from just like random people? Is there a certain area that you've seen like a bigger return on, I guess?
I would say recently it's probably, like I think I said this at the beginning, but my college group, man. It's like some of these people I really wasn't even that close with, but because I've helped so many people from my class or even some other classes, at from Otterbein, it just keeps growing. You know what I mean? Which is kind of nice. But yeah, so my inner sphere from college for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. And a little bit on the like networking too. I had said this on another podcast, but one of the best first date advices I've ever gotten was to, on the first date, ask them, let them talk, ask them questions way more than you talk.
Absolutely.
Because one, it's easier to ask questions. It feels comfortable, whatever. But two, when they come away from that first date or that first business meeting, whatever, I mean, I had a really good time because I got to talk. I got to share my story.
Heck yeah.
And so people really love that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
It has to be.
Yeah.
So what about you? Your dream? What's your D?
Dude, I'm doing it, man. Honestly, I love what I do. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. It can be really stressful because 100% of my pay scale is commission. So the only way I'm going to get paid is if I close on a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that deal is based entirely up to other people's decisions. You know what I mean? If all of a sudden someone's like, you know what, pull the house from the market. I don't want to sell this thing anymore. Okay, well, there goes, $1,200 $1,200 towards marketing, and there goes, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of crazy how other people's emotions and other people's decisions is base my entire salary off of.
How have you learned to stay level-headed in those times? Because I feel like some people and just get super busy. You told me you wanted to sell this house, and you told me you wanted this house, and so I went and got this for you. And how do you kind of stay level-headed in those moments?
Man, it took me a while because I'm a people pleaser to the max. I want to make sure everybody is super happy. But sometimes when it comes down to it, you got to give them your facts about your feelings, what you feel, even if it's against what they might think. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, at least you told them, what you feel about the whole situation. So for me, speaking my mind kind of helps me stay level-headed. Before I was just a people pleaser. I still am, don't get me wrong, but hearing, what other people say and all that stuff, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like
you kind of learn what to weed out
Exactly.
and what to keep your head down on and keep growing with and going with, right?
Yeah.
Is there like a person, have you had a mentor that's kind of helped you through some of those times, through selling real estate, through the real estate world? How important has a mentor been if you have one?
Absolutely. So my team lead, Michael Jones, like I said, he's the president of Columbus Realtors right now. Mentor all the way, man. He took me under his wing for the first 3 years. It was really hard to break off from that team, by the way. But I knew that was my goal after 3 years to kind of jump and do.
You
my
did
own
that
thing.
recently, right?
It was January 2020, right before the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, who saw that coming?
I know, right? When it did, I was like, I was just like, holy crap, what did I just do, man? But it was good. It was actually really surprising because the interest rates were still super low, so we had lots of buyers, and people were working remotely. So I was showing houses at like 10 a.m. on a Monday.
Oh, I bet that was nice.
It was way better, yeah. I was like, okay, cool, because it was kind of sporadic. Give me something to do during the day, which is nice. But
talk about like the worst time in modern history to start an Airbnb business.
Oh, yeah. You guys were really good at first, though, right? You're doing a pretty good job.
We were doing great. I thought the summer we were going to crush it, and then COVID hits in like March.
Yeah.
And we lost in about like a 1 week period. I think we lost over like 50 bookings.
Oh, my gosh.
And like
Dude,
everyone that
that's
had
tough.
booked for the summer, we had a lot of business people that would come for like one night while they're in Columbus because we were close to downtown. And everyone just boom, 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 boom. And what sucked was Airbnb, the company, didn't stick their neck out for the people that were letting people come into their home, for the people listing.
Yeah.
Because they said, hey, you can cancel anything, no fee, no nothing, 100% returns.
Yeah, so it didn't help you guys out any.
And so we're just sitting there with all these people canceling, and it wasn't like a hey, 50-50 split this, like refund half of it and help our people out too a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we ended up through that. I was living back home during the pandemic, 2 hours away. And so when we would get a couple bookings just to try to make our payments every month, me or Joey would drive down to Columbus, clean it, drive back, and then someone else would drive the next day. And
that's tough, dude.
Whenever we could. And then, we kind of got tired of that and just had someone live there and pay the rent.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So we were able to basically break even on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
when at least came up, you guys were like, I'm out though.
Yeah. I love the learning experience of running a business, knowing your numbers, all that kind of stuff goes into it. Have you had to get better at that, knowing your numbers, being organized, stuff like that? Has that had to come with the territory you're in?
Absolutely. Yeah. So before it was all about, okay, next paycheck. When's my next closing? But now it's like I have it mapped out where, okay, I know what I have to do in order to get this house sold or to help this buyer. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, I have a yearly goal. Every year I want to sell a certain amount and I want to make a certain amount of money. So I think for me, I broke it down like that.
Dang. Then what did you have to like specifically tell yourself like, hey, I need to get this done? Like, what are a few little tricks that have helped you? Like, is it planning your day out a day in advance, or literally picking your clothes out the night before so you don't have to in the morning? Are there a few things that you've had to pick up along the way?
Sure. So my calendar right now is very, very good. Anything that I'm going to do, it has to be planned out. And I'll look at it the night before. Okay, what am I doing tomorrow? Okay, shoot, I'm meeting Brady at 3:00. Okay, so I need to make sure I got my fine gear going.
You're always looking fly.
Shoot, but yeah. So I mean, staying on top of my calendar for sure. And also, I hired my fiance. She is my director of operations, as I call her. So she really has helped me like straighten out my calendar and make sure that I'm not going to miss anything. Setting up all of my marketing stuff now, like on social media stuff. Like you'll see, she's making all
She's
this.
crushing
Yeah,
that. It's not you.
yeah, she's doing it because I mean it takes a lot of time, man, and I need to be out showing houses and making relationships and stuff like that. So
Is there like, how has that relationship been of hiring your fiance? Because a lot of people that could either be really good or really bad. And, what has that experience been like for you?
that's a good question, man. So I was highly advised not to do it.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah, everybody said don't do it, but her and I get along so well. We're good partners, and her helping me out and me being able to take the stress off of the marketing and doing my calendar stuff and even the paperwork, man, she does all of that. So all my stuff now is this,
That's
you know what I
sweet.
mean? Like,
That's
and
awesome.
meeting new people and taking people out for showings and stuff.
So has that been good because you guys have like the same mind, the same brain, or has it been good because you have the opposite brain and are able to fill what the other one's not good at?
That's a good question, man. I haven't really thought about it. I know that before we started this, she was working at Children's and she didn't like the position she was in, and I started messaging her. It's like, I need help. You know what I mean? I need help. So if it's not working out, you and I can work something out. So what I did before is I put together a list of a day-to-day operation. So there was no question about what her job title was.
Gotcha.
So she knows, hey, I got to get on this, and him and I can worry about our differences outside of business after that. So yeah.
So have you had to like cut it off, like say, hey, after 6 o'clock, we're going out for dinner tonight. There's no work talk tonight.
Dude,
Has it just been pretty easy?
It's so maybe once a week it'll be like that. Maybe on a Tuesday I'll try to put my phone away. She'll put her phone away. We'll go have dinner, whatever. Yeah. But for the most part, we're probably going to end up talking about real estate.
That's sweet. Who's the coolest person you've had a chance to meet or sell a house for, or buy a house from? What has it been like? Because you're in a lot of different circles in Columbus. Is there like, maybe it's even an Ohio State athlete or someone like that you've had a chance to get to know?
So because of client confidentiality, I won't say any names, but I've worked with some NFL players.
Nice.
I've helped a couple investors, some big name investors, a couple attorneys that have bought some pretty high end properties. But yeah, outside of that, I don't want to say any names.
I got you. Yeah.
I would, but
you can't.
Yeah.
But that's sweet though. I mean,
yeah.
Getting to be in those circles that you've always wanted to be in is probably kind of a dream come true. And,
it's cool,
and you're
man.
just loving
for sure.
it.
Yeah, and get to know those guys outside of seeing them play. On Sundays, it's like, holy smokes, like this is just a normal dude right here. He likes all the same things I like.
Exactly. It is crazy. The few times I've had the chance to be around some of those people, higher up people, it's like, hey, we can still connect on the sports game that's on the TV behind us.
Yeah,
or,
for sure.
What book we read lately, or who we follow on Instagram, and they're all, everyone's kind of the same, and they like people that care about them and want to learn about them, and vice versa.
For sure.
It has to be that way. What about a book that you've read? Have you read? Is there a book that you would recommend? One, I want to hear a real estate book that someone my age could get into, could learn about, but then also just like a life book.
Sure.
That you've got that's kind of changed your perspective,
Sure.
opinion on something.
Sure.
Yeah, a book that you would recommend to someone my age.
Sure. So I could tell you, and this is a super easy read, elementary, but this is when I decided I was going to take a jump towards real estate. I read The Energy Bus. Have you ever read that?
Yes, John Gordon.
Yeah, so
Love that book.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously a simple read, easy read. So that was the first one. I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna hype myself up here. I'm gonna be in a better mood than everybody.
Yeah,
at least try to be.
That's the first book I ever gifted. I used to work with a lot of high school kids when I was in college, And that was that was the one book that I would give to people when they ask what book they should be reading, because I feel like everyone, I mean, I love the energy type of people. They're contagious, and they get that contagious energy back.
Heck
And
yeah.
so, like, finding ways to be happy and see that perspective is so important. I mean, I don't know if you saw the America's Got Talent girl that got a golden buzzer recently. She's from Zanesville, so up close to my area. She's got like terminal cancer, incredible voice. And her quote was, "You can't wait until things are okay to be happy. You can't
Nice.
wait until life is okay to be happy."
Sure.
And I love that quote.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's a great quote. What about? Oh, sorry.
The other for real estate. You asked about real
Yeah.
estate. So real estate book, and this one, this is also a little bit elementary. The read is. I tell you what, man, I've learned some pretty cool stuff from this book that I use every day, and that's Raving Fans.
Raving Fans.
Yeah, Raving
I don't think
Fans.
I've heard of it.
So basically, it's just all about, we've been talking about, for the most part here, we've been talking about building relationships and stuff like that. So this is building your business, my real estate business, into the point where it is, I go above and beyond more than I probably should to make sure that my client is happy. Nipping any kind of situation in the bud, thinking outside of the box and making sure that I'm preventing anything bad from happening by using my past experience and just good customer service, man. That's the bottom line.
Relationships, man.
Absolutely. Dude, read that book, Raving Fans.
Raving Fans.
Yeah,
That's good. I thought you were gonna say like Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I mean, that's a great book.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but and I'll be honest, man. I'm more of a podcast kind of guy.
Yeah.
Big Tony Robbins fan. I love Tony Robbins.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you have what other podcasts do you listen to? Who do you like?
So Zig Ziglar, obviously he's, old time, back in the day. I love his YouTube videos. I've watched every single Zig Ziglar video there is, probably 20 times.
Wow.
He's just overall, his energy, man, is just, you learn so much, and his stories are great.
Yeah.
Les Brown, number
Great,
2. Oh,
dude.
dude, Les Brown is amazing.
He's in Columbus, right? He's a Columbus guy.
I'm not sure.
think he
He talks in some of his videos that he was working in Columbus, and I'm pretty sure his family lives here, but he also talks about Miami a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, but I know he's got Columbus in his blood somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one of my favorites is Ed Milet. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a great dude, great business mind, but also like very spiritual, Christian-like, and so he brings on people and discusses those sorts of topics, and it's really interesting. I would definitely recommend him as well.
Text me that so I can check it out.
I got you. He actually just did a podcast with the guy that used to train Kobe and Michael Jordan.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
great. So you would love that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
Last question that I always like to ask people on here is success. The word success. What does that mean to you? And what does it mean to be successful? When you look back at the end of your life, what is success going to be?
I love it, man. That's a good question. So for me, I think overall being happy is going to be the most successful thing. I found that, in the year that I made 16 grand the first year, that was tough, dude. Like, I can tell you some stories. We'll go there later, but I mean, that was tough. And I wasn't happy. And that's when I got to think, I said, man, I got to make some more money. How am I going to do this? So, I started with Michael Jones, started making some money, started selling some houses, and I went to a point where I made a good amount of money one year, and I realized I was working so much that I wasn't happy. So now it's like trying to find that happy medium between making good money and, focusing on me and my family. I think being successful is going to break down to, obviously I have enough money to live and survive and be happy. And also, outside of that. So success to me is both of those things.
That's
man.
awesome. And like we talked about just a little bit ago, is the happiness. You can't wait until everything's in line in your life. Like you talked about, that first year was tough.
Mm-hmm.
You had to figure out how to be happy in those times, and it's probably like you have to figure out how to separate, your work anxiety and trying to get things moving with all of your other relationships, your family, your friends, stuff like that.
For sure.
Was that a point where you had to kind of put the real estate to the side when you were trying to build those other relationships, or did that kind of go hand in hand?
Man, that's a good question, man. I feel like I don't think I've ever been able to really just put real estate all the way to the side, especially now. I mean, my fiance, she's working with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's always real estate. But I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I'm just still trying to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is my 5th year, and everything is getting easier. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you see the same thing happen over and over again. I've sold over $20 million in real estate now, and stuff starts to kind of get repetitive. It's all easy at that point. From before, it took me forever to get all the all the documents uploaded,
Yeah,
signed
the right
correctly,
stuff.
and all that stuff. So
Now you got processes and
Yeah.
stuff for that, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's probably what your fiance is really good at.
She is really good at it.
Dang.
Yeah, she has a really good teacher though. So
I'm sure she'd love that.
right.
Well, Ty, this has been fun. Where can people find you on social media? Follow along with your journey.
Sure. So my Facebook, Tyler Devoll. It's TYLER DEVOLL. I got a pretty good following on Facebook, but my Instagram is really where I have the most fun, and that's ty.realtor, TY period
Nice.
realtor.
Yeah, that's sweet. I love the content on there, the
Thank
stuff
you,
on
man.
there. It's been fun.
Likewise.
And it's definitely your online presence has gotten better since you brought on your fiance.
100%. 100%. I appreciate you saying that. I'm sure she will too.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
Well, thanks, Ty. I appreciate
My
the
pleasure,
time.
man.
This
Thanks
has
for
been
having
fun.
me. Heck yeah, buddy. Thank you.